Hello. Today we're going to look at sentences with direct objects and one without direct objects so that you can see how to analyze sentences with direct objects, to pick out every word in the sentence and feel confident that you can tell every word's purpose and function in a sentence. The steps that we'll take to analyzing sentences with direct objects is first we'll circle any conjunctions that we find. Then we're going to place parentheses around our prepositional phrases, so we won't get those words in that sentence confused with subjects or direct objects or anything else in the sentence. Then we're going to underline our verbs twice, underline our subjects once, and label any direct objects that we have with a little DO abbreviation. And the last thing we'll do is label our one-word adjectives or adverbs, so we won't get those confused with anything else in the sentence. Watch how we do this as we write the sentences. The very first sentence that we're going to write, and you'll be writing these with me, because if you don't analyze them yourself and do the work yourself, it's like shooting free throws and your coach is doing it and not you. So you need to be able to do it yourself so that you will be the one who'll make the free throw in the big game and not your coach, because your coach will be on the sideline. The first sentence is, the boys and girls crushed their drink cans for fun. The boys and girls crushed their drink cans for fun. What's the first thing we said we're going to look for? Conjunctions. This is a coordinate conjunction, so we'll circle that. So we'll know that we have a compound something. Then we're going to look for prepositional phrases. The only one that you have is for fun. How do we know this is a prepositional phrase? Because we've memorized that for is a preposition, and that it ends with this object of the preposition, fun. Notice that your prepositional phrases always have to end with either a noun or a pronoun, and that there could be some modifiers, some adjectives or adverbs in between. The next thing you're going to look for is your verbs. If this is going to be a transitive verb, it will have a direct object. If it's not, it'll be an intransitive verb, and there will be no direct object. Crushed sounds like it's going to be a transitive verb. But first we're going to ask ourselves, who or what crushed? In this sentence, the boys crushed and the girls crushed. But what did they crush? That's the part you're looking for. Is there something that comes after this action verb that's going to tell me what the girls or boys crushed? And they did crush cans. So that's my direct object. Notice that the boys and girls are your subject, crushed is your action verb, and cans is what they crushed. The last thing you're going to look for is anything that's describing or modifying your nouns or pronouns. You've got boys and girls, and always a, and, or the. It's going to function as an adjective in the English language. These things are also called articles or determiners, and some people call them noun markers. But they'll always be function as adjectives. And then you've got cans. You've got their cans, which is answering whose cans. And then you've got drink cans, which is answering what kind of cans. Remember that your adjectives answer the questions whose, what kind, how many, or which. That's whose, what kind, how many, or which. And that should analyze every word in that sentence. The next sentence that we're going to analyze is during lunch hour. The highways are filled with vehicles. During lunch hour, the highways are filled with vehicles. And what's the first thing you want to look for is a conjunction. I don't see any conjunctions in this sentence. No coordinate conjunctions, no correlative conjunctions. So the next thing I want to look for is my prepositional phrases. I've got with vehicles, but don't forget the one that doesn't always look like it's a preposition. During is a preposition. You've got during lunch hour. The next thing you look for is your verbs. You got filled as an action verb, but don't forget your helping verbs, because are is a helping verb. Now, whom or what are filled? In this case, your highways are filled. That's your subject. Now that you found your subject and your verb, you're looking to see, is there something after this verb that's answering whom or what? Are filled, whom or what? Nothing comes to mind, because there's nothing left at the end of the sentence. So this is actually going to be an intransitive verb, which means this is not going to have a direct object. So let's finish every word in the sentence by going back and finding our adjectives or adverbs. We know this is a preposition. We know this is our object of the preposition. And there's something in between that's describing the hour. Which hour? Lunch hour. The highways. And then vehicles has nothing between it. So that's every word in that sentence. Should be getting a little easier to you now. The next sentence is the smell of dust filled the houses and the barn. The smell of dust filled the houses and the barn. Notice it's the same verb, filled, but you can notice and see that this one was intransitive with no direct object, but this one's going to actually have a direct object. First thing you look for is a conjunction. You do have a coordinate conjunction, and then you'll look for any prepositional phrases. Of dust. Do you see any more? No, you do not. Now you're going to look for any action verbs or any kind of verbs. In this case, you've got filled. So you ask yourself who or what filled, and in this case, smell filled, and that's your subject. So the smell filled whom or what to see if you have a direct object. It filled the houses, and it filled the barn. So this sentence, filled, is a transitive verb, but in this sentence it was an intransitive verb. So notice that you have to always ask yourself after the verb, whom or what, to find out if something is answering a question after your verb to become a direct object. And the next thing you're going to look for is your adjectives and adverbs. In this case, we just have adjectives. Remember, a, and the always function as adjectives, even though they're called many different things. And those are the only ones you have in this sentence. Should be getting easier now. So we'll go, let you figure that, we'll go a little faster, let you figure them out. Make sure you're writing the sentences down. Make sure you're putting the parentheses around them, leaving them up here so you can get used to it. And you can rewind it and play it as much as you need to. The fourth sentence is, everyone in my family loves both chicken and steak from the grill. Everyone in my family loves chicken and steak from the grill. That's actually a true statement. We do love chicken and steak from the grill. But the first thing you want to look for is your what? Right, your conjunctions. Do you see any conjunctions? Of course you do. You see and you circle that. Then you want to look for your what? Prepositional phrases. From is a preposition and it ends with grill. Remember, you might want to put prep over there just for yourself and OP so you'll just know what they are. Those are your objects of preposition. You also have in my family. So this one's a preposition. If you don't know those, go back and memorize those. And then there's family. Next thing you look for is your verbs. Loves is your verb. And then you ask yourself who loves. And in this sentence, you actually have a pronoun as your subject, not a noun this time. But everyone loves. They love whom or what? They love chicken, of course. And they love steak. Anything left to look for? Yes, you've got to look for your adjectives and your adverbs. In this sentence, you have mine, which is answering whose family. And then you have the, which is telling you which grill. And the last sentence we'll be doing today is, from morning until dark, we watched videos about dragons. From morning until dark. We watched videos about dragons. Make sure you're writing these down. Make sure you're actually analyzing them with me. The first thing we'll look for is conjunctions. I don't see any conjunctions in this sentence. Then we'll look for our prepositional phrases. From morning can actually start your sentence. Some prepositional phrases actually function better when you're writing if you put them in the beginning, because you get tired of the sentence and looking the same way every time. Then you've got until dark. And then you have at the end about dragons. Now do you look to see if you have any verbs? We've got watched. Is that transitive or intransitive? The only way we'll know is if we wait to see if there are any direct objects. So who watched? We is your subject. We watched whom or what? Is it transitive or is it intransitive? It's a transitive verb because videos comes after it and it tells you what your direct object is. Fun part about those prepositional phrases is there are no adjectives or adverbs between them. So practice some more. Make sure that you do some practicing. Write some sentences, switch it up a little bit, maybe make you some questions, put some prepositional phrases in the beginning, and get used to analyzing sentences. Thank you, and until next time.